Hi guys, this is Gaurav Vyas. Today I'm going to build a new computer for myself. So this is the old computer that I've been using for a lot of years now, around 6 to 7 years. This PC, I'll give you the configuration. It has a Intel Core 2 Duo processor that is 2.33 GHz, 4 gigs of 800 megahertz RAM, 750 gigs of hard drive, Palette HD 4850 graphics card, and the graphics card is still good. I just finished off with Battlefield 4 on low settings, of course. And so after so many years, I decided to give myself a treat and build a new computer for myself instead of giving it to the tech guys and assemble it for me. So I'll do it myself this time. So I'll show you the parts. So this is a cabinet. Alright, so the cabinet is out of the box now, so I'll show you how it looks. So it's a gaming cabinet. These are the jacks. This is the microphone jack. This is the headphone jack and the microphone jack. Then these are two USB 3.0 ports, hard HDD LED, another one, and the reset switch and the power switch. Right at the top, there is place for two 20mm fans that you can connect to the motherboard or to the Molex connectors. On the side we have a transparent window. Whenever you build a gaming PC, you should consider going for a transparent window. It looks cool. Alright, and at the back you have this LED fan, exhaust fan. Then the IO shield will go here. Then you have these slots for your graphics card and your other PCI Express or PCI cards. Some more ventilation. You can take these out for water cooling in case you want to add water cooling to it. And then finally at the bottom, place for the power supply. Alright, so we'll just open this cabinet. These are just regular thumb screws. Alright, I'll just keep it aside. Alright, what all do we have? These slots for the optical drive. I won't be using an optical drive in this build. I don't require any. Then the top part where you can connect two fans, two 120mm fans. This is the back exhaust fan. Then the tray, it's a mid-tower case. Use an ATX, micro ATX board. Then you have place for SSDs and regular hard drives, and these are the cables that came with it. So the quality is pretty decent. It's made of steel. All everything is painted. It's not like a regular steel cabinet. And even for these slots, you have these thumb screws. You can remove it, and you can keep it safe in case you want to close them back. You can do that. Okay, and these are all the parts, the accessories to connected screws and everything. Okay, and there's another intake fan here. It's also a 120mm fan and it's LED. And I guess you have good good enough space at, behind this tray for cable management. So I'll just open that. Okay, so I think there is good enough space for cable management here. Alright, so I should go on now and go for the build. So you see these holes here. These are for cable management. You can take the cable out from here and bind it somewhere on these areas with the nylon zip ties for cleaner management and good airflow. These are all the parts. Okay, what we have first is the processor, that is the Intel Core i7 processor. It's i7 4790K. It's 4 gigahertz. It's the latest in the market, and it's very rarely available as of now in India. I am in Mumbai, and it is very difficult to find. The i7 4770K 3.5 gigahertz is easily available, but not this one. So I had to run around a bit from shop to shop and get this processor. Even online it is not available at most of the shops, most of the online shops. Alright, so this is the processor. Now we have this Samsung SSD. It's a 250 gigs Samsung Evo. It's a great drive, and it has excellent read and write speeds of over 500 megabytes when connected to 6 gigs per second connector. It's just 250 megabytes, and believe me, it's insanely expensive. Alright, the other hard drive is a 1 terabyte Western Digital 7200 RPM. It's an enterprise class black with 64 MB cache. It's also 6 gigs per second drive. So it's a pretty tough drive. It has a 5 years warranty. It's just 1 terabyte. I don't need much because I download stuff like movies, games, or whatever data I download. I use them and watch them and then delete them. So I don't need much of a space. So Samsung Evo would be the primary drive, the boot drive, and this will be for storage. Okay, now I come to the RAM. Okay, this RAM is 16 gigabytes, 16 GB RAM with 2 sticks of 8 gigs, running at 1866 megahertz. It's the Vengeance Pro series with a cast latency of 9. So it's pretty good and pretty fast. So initially I was going for an 8 GB RAM, but I thought I do not upgrade for at least good 5 to 6 years, so I should go for at least a decent amount of RAM. And also I wanted to build a crazy fast PC, and I hope it will be a lot faster than my old computer. It is just a Core 2 Duo with 2.33 gigahertz and 4 GB of RAM. Okay, the motherboard. Okay, the most important part. Okay, this is a newly released Gigabyte Z97 chipset based D3H motherboard, and it has solid capacitors. I have not opened it yet. So all of the parts are still factory sealed, and this one I got, this is a spike guard, as we call it in India. Everywhere else it is known as a surge protector. It protects you from electricity surges. Okay, and the power supply. The power supply, I just got it delivered today. It's a 650 watt Corsair VS650. It's a basic series, very inexpensive. It's not modular. You cannot remove the cables, but you can tie. The extra cables you can tie them somewhere. Alright, and here's the screwdriver that I would be using to for the build, and this blade. And you might have noticed that I do not have a CD drive in all these parts. A CD-ROM, DVD burner, I don't have it. Nowadays nobody watches videos or do things on a CD drive, on a CD, or record anything on a CD. Everything is done on a hard drive. So why not install Windows using a flash drive? So I have my Windows 7 with Service Pack 1 64-bit Windows 7 Ultimate on this drive, which I'll be using to boot and partition the system. Right, so let's go about part to part. Alright guys, so I've just removed this plastic plastic cover from the power supply. So these are the first, these are three things that we'll be installing first: the power supply, the mechanical hard drive, and the solid state drive into the case. Right, so just let's open this. Alright, what do we have here? It's a warranty guide. Keep it here. One safety information. Then we have this power cable. Okay. And finally we have this power supply. Okay, it's nicely packed, and these are the regular screws. So usually you should always use the screws or the connectors that come with the device. They better fit that way. So I'll be using those. And these are black, and the cabinet that I'm using is also black, all painted. So it's good. And you should always remember that you should keep touching your box so that you do not have this static electricity in your body that could damage the parts. But now, as of now, we don't have to worry about that, because these parts won't be harmed with that. So we'll just keep the box aside. Okay, the second thing that I'll be opening is the Samsung Evo. Alright, I'll just cut the label and open it. That's the drive. It comes with the Samsung software, and forgive me guys, I'm just filming using my mobile phone. I do not have a dedicated camera for it, so it may get out of focus sometimes. I'm sorry for that. So this is the drive. Alright, it looks pretty good. Alright, this is the second thing that we would be installing, and the third is this mechanical 1 terabyte hard drive. Right, so I'll just open it. Now this is the hard drive. You can see the model number. It's an enterprise class drive. That means it's pretty tough. You can keep your system running 24/7, and it's very durable. And it comes with a 5-year warranty. As I told you already, that I don't need 2 terabyte or 3 terabyte drives. So one is a 250 GB, that's an SSD, and this one 1 terabyte. That should be enough for me, more than enough. Right, this is the second drive that we'll be using. Okay, now let's open the power supply. And there is a large intake fan here. It does not throw air outside. This is an intake fan. And It's a very silent fan. Okay, here is the on-off switch, and the power cable goes here. Right. This is the VS650. It's a basic. This is the power supply. We have a tie here, the metal tie, so you should be able to remove it easily. Just twist it and it comes out. Okay, so these are all the connectors. Okay, now I'll just check the box, check the cabinet. I'll remove this. Okay, there is another one. Right, and these are all the connectors that go front connectors that go to your motherboard. The switches, they are all marked. HDD LED, power LED, positive, negative, reset switch, power switch, and here you have the USB 3.0 connector along with a USB 2.0. That means if you have an older motherboard that does not support USB 3.0, that does not have a port for it, then you can use the same ports and connect it to a USB 2.0, slower ports, and they will work fine but at slower speeds. So this is one, this is two, and there's another one. This is the HD audio, and this is AC97 that no one uses now. So these are all the ports, and here we have the motherboard fan connector, and this is another one for the front fan. Alright, so let's get started. First I'll just take these cables out so that it's easier to install the power supply. First we'll install the power supply. Okay, so we'll take the cables out. And on this cabinet, the best part is that the power supply, this fan would be facing down. Is that this cabinet also has a dust filter here that you can remove, and here you can add an extra fan for extra cooling. Very good airflow. Okay, so we'll install the power supply this way. Alright, so I'll just install the power supply and the hard drives, and then I'll continue with the video. Okay guys, so the power supply is installed here, and these are all the cables. These are just pretty basic cables, easy to connect. Okay, now we'll be installing the hard drives. So these are the clips for the bigger drives and the smaller ones for the SSDs. Right? So you need two of these for a drive. So you just attach them to a drive like this, and then you can just slide the drive in, and it locks in place automatically. So you don't need screws like this. Okay, and the same goes for the mechanical drives. You just attach these here on both the sides, and then you place the drive. So I'll just place it in somewhere in the middle, as this drive gets heated up, so it should be in front of this fan. It will suck air from the outside, and so it should keep this cool. An SSD doesn't require cooling, it doesn't turn on because there are no moving parts. It's like a memory card into your phone. That's why it is much faster. So now this drive goes here, you just hold it, push it in, and it locks like this. So it's pretty firm, it won't come out easily. Right, so power supply is installed as well. The fan is facing down. So we'll just put this cabinet aside for a while. Okay, so guys, we have to install these three parts in the cabinet now. So we'll start off with the motherboard, but make sure you touch any metal surface before you begin, because out of these two parts, your motherboard and your RAM are static sensitive, and they can get damaged due to static electricity. So we'll start off. So I've already done that. So we'll just keep the processor aside and the RAM aside. We'll start with the motherboard. This. Okay, that's a nice looking motherboard. Here we have two SATA cables. Okay, and here's the motherboard. So we'll just take it out. This motherboard comes in a static bag to prevent it from static damage. So we'll just keep it here. We'll check what all do we have in the box. Okay, it is a basic board, so I'm not expecting much, but let's see. Okay, here we have the IO shield. Okay, this is the manual for the board, and this is the driver CD and the gigabyte sticker. Right, so this IO shield will go at the back of the cabinet for connecting all the cables and the attachments. Okay, so we just keep it out here and here. Just keep it in for a while. So these are enough cables because I just need to connect two devices. Both of them are hard drives. The first one is the SSD and the second one is the Western Digital. So we'll just keep it here. We close this box, and we'll keep the motherboard on this box. Okay, so first I'll install the processor. We'll just take the motherboard out of the bag. Okay, so the motherboard is out. So I'll explain you why I chose this board. First of all, it is socket 1150. So make sure whenever you buy your processor, your board should have the same socket. So it says LGA 1150, and this board is also, and this socket is also LGA 1150. So this is compatible. Make sure whenever you buy, they should be compatible. Alright, and on this side we have this PS2 port for your keyboard and your mouse if you have a PS2 device. These are the two USB 2.0 ports, and these are display ports. One is a DVI, one is a normal display port. This one is an HDMI port, and these blue ones that you see are USB 3.0 ports. Then followed by the Ethernet port for your internet, and the 8-channel audio below that. Okay, now these are for your graphic cards 1 and 2, and these are for other cards if you want to install, like a Wi-Fi card or any other card that you want to install, a sound card. These ports you can install it here. Okay, this has 4 slots for the memory, and they are color coded, so you cannot go wrong. So you always use identical colors in case you are using dual channel memory like I am using. This one is the main power connector. This is the Z97 chipset here. Okay, now, and here are the ports, the audio, this audio port, and these are the USB ports, and these are the front panel connectors for your power switch and all. And this USB 1, this is the system fan 2 if you want to connect. This is the system fan 3, and I guess 1 should be here somewhere. The system fan 1, I'm not able to find it, it should be here somewhere. System fan 1 is this one. Okay, here goes the CPU fan. It has 2 spots, and the CPU fan optional in case you are using a water cooling unit. And this is the power connector for your CPU, I'm sorry, for the board, and this is another power connector. These are the two, and these are SATA cables to connect your drives and your optical drives and any other part here. So these are all, you don't have to worry about checking which one, because these are all SATA 6.0, 6 gigs per second, and these are here that you see are SATA Express. These are like 10 gigs per second. It's pretty fast. So we'll unbox the processor now. Okay, let's keep it aside a bit. So this is the label that you get with, on the processor box. Make sure you do not cut it from this side, because you might need it for warranty in case something goes wrong with the processor. So we'll use this side. Okay, and the reason I chose this processor because it is the fastest chip on the market today. It's not available at a lot of locations. It's still very rare. In the other countries like US and the UK, it is available, but not in India. So I have to request my tech guy to arrange it for me from somewhere, and he managed to get one. Alright, so we'll just open the processor now. So it's the usual packing like we have for all the Intel processors. Okay, we open this, we open it this way, and then we take out the box. Okay, this is some documentation that comes with the processor. And do you see this McAfee thing here on the left? McAfee is a company that makes your internet security and antivirus programs. It's a pretty famous company, but it is now owned by Intel and not by the previous owner. So Intel owns it. Okay, so we keep it aside. If it has something, I think it's taped as well, so we'll open it later. Let's keep this aside. And here is the board, and there's the heatsink, and this gray thing that you see here is the thermal compound. It sticks to your processor, and it helps to transfer heat from the processor to this heatsink. So it is covered because you should not touch it, as it can get contaminated and not work the way it's supposed to. Right, so we'll just take it out. I'll just take it out. Okay, guys, this is the heatsink and the fan, and this is the actual processor. It is also covered. Make sure you do not touch this surface, because the oils and dust in your finger can contaminate it. So that's why it is in this plastic container. And a lot of guys go for aftermarket coolers and liquid coolers and all. It is not for me, because I do not overclock. This fan that you see here over the heatsink is pretty much reliable. It's I would say it is extremely reliable. I've been using Intel processors for the past 6-7 years. I've built 2 computers for myself. That means from the tech guys, and these fans they never fail. I think no one replaces. These are extremely reliable because they are from the manufacturer and made to last. So in case you are not overclocking your CPU, you don't need an aftermarket cooler or a liquid cooling or anything, because this is pretty much good. It can take care of most of the heating part. So this processor runs at 4 gigahertz. It's an extremely fast chip, and it is the best as of today. As far as I believe, as far as my knowledge goes, this is the fastest chip that you can buy today from Intel. AMD doesn't even come close with any of its chips. Okay, and so we'll be installing this now. So we'll take the motherboard again, and first you have to take this pin out. Now the pins that you see here are extremely delicate, so make sure you do not touch any of these pins. Okay, I am now going to remove this CPU, this chip, and make sure you always hold this CPU from the sides and not from the pins. And do not touch the upper part as well. Right, so this has an arrow at the corner, and you just need to match it with this. Just match it and just slightly drop it, and just make sure it is firmly seated. Now close this, and this sort of teeth that you see here should go below this screw, and you will have some resistance with this clip, so make sure you press it all the way. It won't break, you don't have to worry. Just put it, and this cover will automatically pop off. See, it has come out. So the processor is now installed, and you have to keep this in case something goes wrong with your motherboard and you have to send it for warranty purpose. This has to be replaced. This has to be here, otherwise the warranty would be void, because pins can get damaged. Once the CPU is removed, it has to be back at the place where it belongs. Alright, so we'll just keep it aside for a while. Now we will be installing the CPU cooler. Alright, the CPU cooler, the CPU heatsink is now installed, and we just have to install the RAM now, and then we'll mount this motherboard along with the CPU cooler and the RAM into the cabinet. Alright, so here I have this Vengeance Pro series, 16 gigs, 2 DIMMs of 8 gigs. So I'll just take it out. It says Corsair Vengeance Pro series. and it's a beautiful looking RAM. The heat spreader is it looks very good. Right, so the RAM can go in one way, and I have to use two DIMM slots, the number 1 and number 2. So I'll be using the gray sockets. Right, I'll just insert it. Okay, the motherboard is ready now to be installed in the case. Right, so we just I'll just do that. Alright, as you can see now, the motherboard is installed with the standoffs. It took me some time, but it was successful, and everything is placed. Now we need to start hooking up the cables one at a time. So this is the part where people get scared and they don't do it, but if you do one cable at a time, everything falls in place, and everything should be done quickly. It doesn't take long. So I'll just hook up the cables, and then we'll do a test boot. Thank you. Okay, so now the setup is complete, and the cable management from the front looks good. I'll show you the cable management at the back. It's pretty clean here. So I managed to do it the way I wanted, but it's not as tidy as it should be, but the covers fit in well, so I don't have to bother. Right, these are the two drives that are connected. So I'm using this SSD as a boot drive. It's pretty fast, and this is a storage. Okay, and one thing for you guys, if you are building a similar system with a similar processor, then I would suggest you to select the power plan as balanced mode, because otherwise if you select a performance mode, then it will run on 4.4 gigahertz all the time. It is pretty much overclocked. It will remain pretty much overclocked all the time. So it all depends upon the power plan that you select in your Windows settings, Windows power options. So I've selected on balance mode, and it's running quite cool. Now it is running at somewhere around 38 to 39 degrees. The processor on stock cooling is good. So as I said, if you do not overclock, if you do not intend to overclock, then stock cooler is the best, and it is extremely reliable, and it will work for years without any trouble. So you can only invest in a water cooling system in case you overclock, and it generates a lot of heat. You can just add a couple of more fans, and things should be good. Right, so I've done a test boot already, and the system looks great, and it is extremely quick, extremely fast. So that completes this video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.